Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to our Android tip calculator app. We're actually going to start building our app this time. I know I said that last video, but then we got into a whole thing about objects, which was important to understand what we're going to do next. But this time, I promise we're actually going to start making the app. So let's get to that. So we put a scroll view onto our app, and what a scroll view is it lets anything that's inside of the scroll view be scrollable vertically. So our app probably is not going to fit on the screen because it's going to be too long. So we need it to be scrollable. And to do that, we put all of the elements of our app inside of a scroll view. So that's why that's there. And we're going to work a lot with this outline window here. So let's make it a lot bigger, because I rarely use this task window here, and particularly the properties window, which we want really big. Okay, so what are we going to do next? Let's go to layouts right here, and then drag and drop a table layout onto either the app preview itself, or what I like to do is drag it onto the scroll view in the outline, which I think is easier. Now, a table layout, like a scroll view, is one version of a view object, but it has a bunch of methods and attributes that make it more table-like. And what it does is it makes everything inside of it organized into a table. So, big surprise there. So what we did is we put the table layout inside of the scroll view, so now if our table gets too long, we can scroll it. And now we're going to put all of our UI elements into this table. So let's look at the properties window here. What is a property? A property is basically what a lot of Android programmers call attributes. Properties and attributes are interchangeable, and I use one or the other randomly. So they're basically the same thing. So this here has a lot of the useful attributes / properties of the table layout object, but not all of them. But we don't have to worry about that right now. Let's just get into it. So the ID, that is one property that we will be editing right now. The ID is basically a value that you can assign to objects while you're making the UI with XML. And then later on, when you're doing the code in Java, you can refer back to the objects you created in the XML file by referring to the ID that you gave them. So if I want to change some aspect of the table layout when I'm writing the code in Java, I can just access this table layout by giving the code the ID of this table. And the ID that we're going to give it is this right here. I'll zoom in. So note the syntax. It has to be @ plus ID / and then the name of the ID you want to give. In this case, we just called it the main table. And always remember to put this prefix ahead of the ID. Also, you can note that a programming norm is to make the name, or the first word in the name, lowercase, then have no spaces, and then every word after the first word start with a capital. Okay, so we gave it an ID, great. Now we can access it in our Java code. Now let's continue. Let's see what we have to do next. According to our plan, we have a text bit here that says pretext bill, so let's add that. So let's go to, form widgets, I think? Yeah. Now let's drag and drop a medium text. Oh, by the way, if what you see here is different than what I see, go ahead and click this triangle up here. And I think by default Eclipse has show small previews on, which looks like this. I don't really like this, so I switched it to show icons and text. Right then, drag a medium text either onto the preview, or what I like to do is onto the outline, and put it onto table row 1. So the first row of our table now has this here. And let's edit the properties. It automatically gave it an ID. We can use that or we cannot. We don't need it, so I'm just gonna ignore it. You can delete it too if you want. Let's see, what are the major properties of a text view? Okay, first of all, what is a text view? This is a text view, and a text view is basically a view object that has text on it, and the text cannot usually be manipulated by the user. So it's exactly what it sounds like, and there are different sizes. This is a medium-sized one. Okay, so let's change the text here to say pre-tax bill. Let's also change the gravity. So the gravity the gravity is basically alignment in terms of word processing. So we want it to be right aligned and also centered. So let's click this little button here for gravity. Make it center vertical and then right. You'll notice that nothing actually happened. That's because there's nothing in the table yet. Once we add more stuff, it'll move based on the gravity. So don't worry about that. Okay, what else do we have? Let's check the plan. We have a button here that lets the user add more diners. So let's throw in that button. And let me make sure that there's nothing else that we need for the pre-tax bill. Yeah, it looks like that's all. Okay. Yeah, I don't see anything else. So let's make the image button. So go to Images and Media, and drag and drop an image button into the same row as pre-tax bill. And for this thing here, you can just click OK. It'll give you a default image, which is that. And there we go. Again, this is still row 1. Let's give it an ID, because we're going to need to access this in our Java code. Let's call it Add Diner button. Oops, caps lock. Okay, great. And let's change the source because we don't really want this weird Android mascot thing here. So change it to... Oh, I guess... Okay, I'll talk about this in just a sec. Weird. Oh, there we go. Okay, so you're going to need buttons basically for this app. I already have buttons that I set up ahead of time. And darn it, this is going to take the whole video to explain probably. Okay, let's do it. Let me find the thing. Okay, so this is your folder for your app. And then you go to the resources folder. And you'll see that you have 4 drawable folders. These are different resolution versions of the images that you want to use for your app. It goes low DPI, medium DPI, high DPI, and extra high DPI. Now DPI stands for dots per inch, which is a measurement for resolution that Google likes to use. And you basically need 4, okay, you don't need, but you can have 4 different versions of every image that you plan to use for your app. And the reason to do this is that different Android devices are going to have different resolutions, because unlike Apple phones, there are a whole range of different Android devices. And if you want your app to look the same or roughly the same across all of them, you should probably have different resolution images for every single one of your images. Now, you don't have to do that. If you only have one version of an image, then you can create a new folder and call it just drawable, and just put one version of the image in here. And Android will automatically try to find the best resolution for image for a particular device. And if it sees that you only have one version available, it'll just resize that by itself. There's going to be some quality loss, but if you don't care about that and you're lazy, you can just have one image. If you're worried about resolution, you can have 4 images, or less than 4, just as many as you want, basically up to 4. And you put them in the correct folder. And so that's what that's about. You can either download the image that I use from my website again, the source page that I showed earlier on in the series, or you can find your own. The ones here, they have red X's on them because I don't own the rights to these images. I can use them, but I can't give them away, so I put the watermarks on them. Okay, so let's look at this image button. We already looked at one property, which was the source, right here. Now what you have to do is just the folder, it doesn't matter which folder or which resolution that it uses. You just have it say @drawable, and then Android will automatically find the right resolution. And then put the name of the image. Make sure you don't put the file extension like .png or .jpeg, because Android will just find the image automatically. That also means that you can't have any image with the same name as another one. So you can't have an add.diner.png as well as an add.diner.jpg. that's going to mess Android up. So yeah, that's all we need. Add drawable / the name of the button, and that's the source property. And again, we change the ID property up there. Okay, I think that's all we need for this. Let's move on to the next table row. Let's see what we have. Oops. We have a diner, and then we have the amount, and then we have the button. Okay, let's do that. Go back to text fields, or sorry, form widgets, or you know what, go to text fields, and take an edit text, which is what these are, drag a person's name down onto row 2. Now this is an edit text object. An edit text object is another version of the view object that we keep talking about, except that the text it has can be edited by the user. So let's do that, and let's change the ID here to first customer. And let's go ahead and change the text to just say customer. Let's also change the gravity. Now here's the thing with gravity in Android. Let me check how much time is left first. Okay, let's quickly go over gravity, and then I'm going to have to cut this again. So you have layout parameters gravity here, right? And what that does is it sets the gravity for the view itself. On the other hand, this is the text view, and it has content inside the view, in this case the word customer. If you want to set the gravity or the alignment for just the word customer, you scroll down and find a second gravity property here, and you can change it. We're going to make it right center vertical. And if I didn't do that, let me undo that. And if I change just the gravity that's up here, you'll see that nothing happens, right? Oh, also you notice that when we added the button, the pre-text bow here jumped here, like I said it would. But anyway, so for this one, we don't want to change the layout parameters gravity. We want to change the gravity that's under text view, which is all the way down here, right here. And we'll make it right center vertical. And if we go into the XML tab here and we look at it, we know that the text view gravity is written as Android :gravity, whereas the other gravity is written as Android :layout _gravity. So the basic difference is really well explained in this infographic I made. I said pretentiously. So here's the, what do you call it? This is the layout parameters gravity. This is where layout parameters gravity is left aligned and the text view gravity is centered. So this is the text view, and this is, let's call it the table view, the table layout. With the left aligned layout parameters gravity, the entire view is left aligned with respect to the table layout. And then when the text view gravity is centered, the actual text is centered inside of the text view object. On the other hand, if layout parameters gravity is centered and text gravity is left aligned, then we have the entire text view being centered inside of the table layout, but the content is still left aligned with respect to the actual text view object. I'm not sure if that made any sense, but you can look at the picture and hopefully it will click for you. So there's two gravities for a lot of objects, and that's what the difference is. One controls the alignment of the content inside the view, and one controls the view with respect to the view that it's inside, the parent view. Okay, so we have that. Anything else? I don't think we need to add anything else to that one. Let's go ahead and add another edit text. This time it's going to be, according to this picture, the dollar amount. So let's go to text fields again and then find number decimal. Drag it here or here. Oops. Let's give it an ID of amount 1 of 1. And we're calling it that because this is the amount for the first customer and this is his first order. So amount 1 of 1 is what I want to call it. Let's ignore the layout parameters gravity again and instead find the text view gravity, which is, oh, I'm sorry, I think I accidentally changed. Oh shoot, yeah, I accidentally changed the ID for the table row instead of the edit text. Let me fix that. There we go. You have to be careful with that. There we go. Okay, let's change the gravity. Again, go to the text view gravity. And just for simplicity's sake, whenever I say gravity from now on, I mean text view gravity. And if I want to say layout parameters gravity, I'm just going to say layout gravity. So this up here is layout gravity. This down here is just regular gravity. Oh, where did it go? Okay. Let's make it center. Simply centered. And let's give it some text. So let's make it $0 because that's going to be the default. And then what else? Okay, let's also make this. Alright, let's do that later. Actually, I'm going to cut the video, and we can go over what happens next in the next video.